I would like to invite today's presiding officer, Toastmaster Narasimhan Devaraj. He has been working in Cognizant as a business development lead. He is currently the VPPR of Medley Toastmasters Club, and his hobby is he likes to read and he improves his communication and leadership skills. So, with this, I would like to present this virtual stage to Toastmaster Narasimhan Devaraj. Narasimhan, please.
Thanks a lot, Sergeant at Arms, for that wonderful introduction. And good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It feels great to be back. I'm coming back after a long hiatus, and it always feels nice to be part of this Medley fraternity. And one thing that I've learned in Medley is they punish you by putting you right in the hot seat. Today, I get to be the presiding officer, and not only that, today is a special meeting. Not because I'm the presiding officer, also because of the fact that it's a Medley Speakathon, and also we have a wonderful set of evaluators evaluating all our speakers. These are not your regular evaluators. They are division winners and division finalists who will be evaluating our Medley speakers. Toastmasters in general, the reason why I joined Toastmasters is primarily because I want to improve my communication and leadership skills. It also provides you a wonderful platform to explore, experiment, and evolve. So that's one of the key reasons why I keep coming back to Medley. And of course, after a long hiatus, I'm delighted to be back. So I just want to check if there are any guests. I did see one of the guests. Do we have guest Shakuntala? Shakuntala, can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Shakuntala from Lyceum Toastmasters Club, Sri Lanka.
Hi. Oh, Sri Lanka, great. So who invited you to this, and how did you get to know about this meeting, ma'am?
I saw it in the Facebook, and
oh, excellent.
Another person, I forgot his name. They invited me. Thank you for the invitation.
Excellent. Sit back and enjoy the meeting.
Second time.
Okay.
Meeting. Thank you.
Great. Sit back and enjoy the meeting. Do we have any other guests? I did see the name Sharon popping up. Okay, fine. Without much ado, we will start or get started with the proceedings. So every Toastmasters meeting, as most of you must be aware, is run by the Toastmaster of the day. And for today, for the special meeting, we have none other than our president, distinguished Toastmaster Thomas T. Abraham, who's going to be the Toastmaster of the day today. Just a few words about distinguished Toastmaster Thomas. He's not only my mentor, but he's also he calls himself as communicator for life. He's had an esteemed career where he's played the role of communications lead, communications expert with a lot of distinguished organizations like Ashok Lenin, Hinduja, etc. I hand over the stage to you, sir. Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Toastmaster Narasimhan and the presiding officer for the day. Talking about presiding officer, the 30th president of the USA, Calvin Coolidge, was known to be speaking very, very few words, a man of few words. When seated at a dinner party next to the president, poet and satirist Dorothy Parker said to him, "Mr. Coolidge, I made a bet against a fellow who said that it's impossible to get more than 2 words from you." What do you think Mr. Coolidge would have said? Any guess?
Really?
Wow. Oh, you better than Dorothy Parker or Coolidge himself, because Coolidge said, according to the history, you lose. But brilliant. That was very good. So we already have followers of brevity, which is today's topic. I'm glad I'm in congenial company. Let me give you 3 rational reasons in favor of brevity. 1, long, winding, flowery prose may make me feel good, boost my ego, and pamper my vanity. That is self-indulgence, not communication. Why impose it on the audience? Briefly put, brevity respects the listener and his or her time. That's reason one. Reason two, consider this. Since time is limited, if we express ourselves as briefly as we can using fewer words, that will register better. Or, given the limited time, fewer words will register better. Which of the two registers better? The first or the second? Obviously the second, right? So with fewer words, the reason is this: the time available per word increases. Therefore, results have to be good. Third, brevity enhances impact. It's like a bullet. It is lethal because it is trim. The same amount of steel flattened becomes a teaching aid. At least it used to be. Remember that? The metallic foot rule, which used to be used by some teachers on the extended palms of terrified children. Incidentally, some of them reportedly got better marks in mathematics in the subsequent tests. Be that as it may, that has nothing to do with brevity. So let me stop here. Now, as we move forward, I will offer further proof of the impact brevity bestows by borrowing from historical nuggets like what I just now threw at you. Meanwhile, because we are brief and the meeting is, we are respecting brevity, we can indulge in a way. We can have a little game here, but let me say this to you that we have just two sessions at this meeting. One is prepared speeches, half a dozen of them if you please, all by Medlians, and then follows the evaluations. All of them, like Toastmaster Narasimhan mentioned, by division level evaluation contestants, four of them already with a footing on the district evaluation stage. Wow, it's half the district finals 2021. Meanwhile, here is something for guests and Medlians, starting with Medlians who do not have a role except be nice audience for the day. The game is this. We will talk about brevity, or in brief, briefly for 30 seconds. But the catch is you have to speak using the last word of the last speech as your first word. For example, if I say that was tremendous, you got to start talking with tremendous. Are we okay? Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, in which
Yes,
case,
sir.
may I request Toastmaster Narasimhan to nominate the speakers. Since we don't have many guests and non-role playing speakers, go ahead. You are the boss.
Sure, we can start
30
off with.
seconds. 30 seconds is all you have. I will shout the speaker down. I mean,
Sure.
I'm saying not so bad.
So we can start with our favorite Toastmaster Venkatesan.
Haha, yeah, of course. Toastmaster Venkatesan, you know what I was saying. 30 seconds. You will start with the last word of what I'm going to say. The sentence I have for you is nice and green. It is, her speech was trim like a bamboo tree. So you'll start your sentence with tree and we'll talk about brevity, brief, whatever you like. Your time starts now, Venkatesh.
Sir, you're on mute. Sir, you're on mute.
I'll start you again. When you start, I will start my watch.
Okay, tree. Without tree, all the meteorological department, 5 years back, they used to say that we never get usual rain and other things because tree is the most important one. But the Niravi cyclone, other cyclone, the new one has come, 2 or 3 cyclones for the past 10 days. We felt that without tree, we could not get a rain. But because of natural calamity, we are getting a rain. As well as nowadays, there is no lightning before rain.
Rain. Thank you. Rain. Who is the next
Yes.
speaker?
Yes, Hari.
Guest Hari, please start with rain. Your topic is brevity. Please unmute and start.
Hari? Guest Hari?
Narasimhan, he had just connected with his audio. Can we move ahead with the next one?
Okay, fine. Can we have guest Shakuntala?
Start with rain,
Rain.
please,
What is the
Shakuntala.
last word?
Rain, R-A-I-N.
Drops.
Yeah.
So, nice to hear. Nice to see. Because for the cultivation and the human existence, rain is more important. I enjoy rain, especially when I see in the CCTV camera. I love the way it falls down. And when sometimes I forget about the time when it rains, because I enjoy it. I just use most of the time watching that. That is my most interesting, with a cup of tea and the rain, that my day is a beautiful day. It is the only thing that will turn my day into a beautiful one.
Beautiful one. We take it as beautiful one. Who is the next speaker?
Our Sergeant at Arms, Ramesh Rajendran.
Beautiful one, Ramesh Rajendran. You know taboo topic, speaker.
Yes, sir. It was a beautiful one in the sunshine. Then there come the heavy wind, for which no one was able to take care of themselves because it was very heavy. So everyone ran to their home. Now the wind is very heavy.
I think Ramesh has a connectivity issue. Narasimhan, could you kindly nominate the next speaker?
Next speaker, the only person left is guest Hari.
No, let's get a few more. Go ahead.
Including the role plays. Okay, I would like to nominate Saravanan.
Okay. Saravanan,
Home.
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful one.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So beautiful one. One is always beautiful. One is the other name for first. So I always like being first. Although my although I like 3, okay, because that is my favorite number as well. But 1 or first is what I like the most. Whenever I think of 1, I always think about the same thing, right? So the first interview I attended, I passed, I cleared, okay, and the first girl I saw for my marriage, I got married to that person. So everything starts with 1 or first. I like that very much, and that is where brevity also is very much important, because brevity is where you have to talk in succinct as well as clear, candid words. And first is also like
words. Thank you. Next speaker.
Next is Amita, Toastmaster Amita.
Amita, words for Amita. Wow.
Words is the only thing which I call my strength. Without words, I'm nothing. The only words makes a lot of sense. I think people actually say actions speak louder than words, but words actually have a great impact on everyone. Words is my everything. I read all the time. I listen to music all the time. I listen to speeches all the time. I speak all the time. So without words, I don't think anything is fine in my life. And I also like subjects which has only words, which is like theory subjects. I'm horrible at physics, chemistry, math, and all of that. So
all of that. Thank you. All of that.
All of that. I cannot think of anybody else but Jagan, Toastmaster Jagan. All of that.
Thank you, Narasimhan. That was flattering, but I am not all of that. So as we talk, we say jack of all trades, but jack of all trades is a master of none. And I would like to be a master of everything, or at least one thing. So when we say all of that, we generally dilute the individual parts so that it sums it up to look big. But these individual parts are nothing. They are just one bit of it. So I'd like to be not all of that, but at least one of that, so that I get to be a specialist in one branch, not in all branch.
All branches. Okay. Could we have the evaluators so that they get warmed up also, Narasimhan?
I'll start off with Toastmaster Priya Darshani.
Sure. Yeah. So what was that? Branches.
Is it
branches?
all?
Branch.
One
branch.
Branches.
Branches. Okay, it's quite. Every tree has a branch. Now, what is the role of a branch is a big question. The branch it stands as a support to the tree, or tree is the one which supports the branch. I like these branches because that's where my childhood is connected. You use the swing, and it is the branch we look for, the one which is really hard, the one which is tough, so that it can take my weight and I can swing on it. When we talk of brevity today, just with the branches, and when the brevity came in between, I was thinking the best brevity I had heard today was few sway and few stay. I don't know, when I was talking about the swing and my branches, the swaying came into action, and that's how the brevity thought of few sway and few stay just clicked into me.
Into me.
Oh,
Toastmaster Sindhu.
Me.
You have to start with me.
Yes, grammatically wrong sentence it will be, but let's try.
Me things may
Ah.
be grammatically wrong, but for many people, me things could be brevity. Because when I say I think about something, you'll half the connection with the audience is lost. So sometimes grammar is not important. Sometimes the message that we communicate is more important. So instead of I going to say that I think brevity means, I would rather conclude by saying me thinks brevity means being brief. Thank you.
Yeah,
Brief,
let's it.
brief.
Brief, yeah.
I would like to call upon Toastmaster Paragre.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
Parag. Shoot.
Yeah. Sorry, the video is a bit challenge for me. So right now, without video, I'll say. So the word is brief, right?
Right.
Briefing one on a particular topic has the only entire content inside it as a gist of a big ocean. So briefing always have a positive impact on a message conveying a personality to the audience, where the hold on entire content and knowledge is in the conveying person's hand. So that having an important aspect of the messenger, the speaker, and one commander when he is briefing the content. Of course,
Content.
it is
Content.
Okay, the next person I would like to call upon is our VP-elect Toastmaster Ranga.
Content is everything. And without content, we will not be able to express whatever we desire. So, but the content has to be in context to something. And for that, a picture would say 1,000 words. We can write just a few words of context to make the content look perfect with the photograph. And for me, I feel that is that is brevity at its core.
Core. We have two more evaluators. Would like to call them? Core.
Sure. DTM Ramanujam.
The core is something that what we think about ourselves. We always go by fancies and imps and thinking that we can't do anything. But the core of the strength lies within achieve anything. Similarly, as Toastmasters, we believe on core value principles of rise, respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So all starts from within us.
Us.
Toastmaster Aloysius. Us.
Us is a difficult word to start with, to be honest. I would put it as among us. Among us, how many of us are Toastmasters really interested in leadership and public speaking? With Toastmasters, I got a lot of intuitive information and camaraderie when I started my journey 2 years back. With Toastmasters inclusive, my leadership journey external to Toastmasters also excelled well in terms of an understanding how to organize yourself, also how to facilitate people across, not only with your club level initiatives to organize something, a District 120 event. If you're organizing something similar, you can organize something even more better as an event organizer. So there are multiple roles and other things you learn. Okay.
Learn. Any other evaluator left? Or let's have one more, two more.
That's pretty much it, sir. I think we can call upon.
The tag players?
Yeah, we can. Toastmaster Lavanya.
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry, the word is learn, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So, learning, according to me, one has to keep on learning. It could be anything, be it cooking, be it taking care of yourself, or reading the book, developing your attitude, or studying anything, or everything starts from learning. And learning makes you feel younger. It keeps you busy with things rather than thinking of the past or thinking of the future. It helps you to be at this moment. And the latest learning I have already shared is that recently I learned how to swim. So that was a great experience for me. So I would urge everyone to keep learning, and so is Toastmasters. So how much?
Toastmasters, thank you. Toastmasters, yes.
So I'd like to call upon Atishay to talk about Toastmasters.
Right. Thank you, Narsimhan. A very good choice, I would say, considering that it's been 2 months since I joined the Toastmasters, Medley Toastmasters. And I believe this is a community. This is a community with sub-communities underneath that is meant to bring up people, make people into leaders, make people grow in their speaking, make people find out ways to explore different parts of their personality, allow them to find out things that they did not know they were good at, and just an initiative that allows participants to develop and
develop. May I stop there? Develop. Thank you. One more. We'll go forward.
Develop. I would like to call upon Toastmaster Tyagarajan. Develop is the word, sir. Sir, you're on mute. Sir, you're on mute. Sir, you're still on mute, sir.
Yes. Now, tell me.
So the word is develop. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Please speak about develop.
Brevity.
Develop. You have to start with the word develop, sir.
Oh, you want me to speak on develop? I have to develop now. I am in trouble. I am in a hot spot now. I have to develop and realize what is mentoring, Yes. It is a question of development. Development is you have to be patient. And then you have to think. Yes, first you have to gather information which will be converted into knowledge, which then knowledge means you have to reflect. There development comes. And then wisdom will be the ultimate product.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So we've reached the destination. We ended with product. We started with tree. We ended with product. Not bad. So, Narasimhan, shall we close here and take things forward, or what do you suggest?
Yes, sir. We can close it and we can take it forward from here.
Okay, brilliant. In which case, I would request you to kindly help us with the introduction of the tag teams.
Sure. Now, moving on, a very important role, as most of you must be aware, is the evaluators and especially the tag role players. If you look at evaluation, there are two aspects to it. One is the artistic part, which the evaluators will take care. And of course, the other one is the analytical part, which the tag team will take care. And to take care of or to play the roles of the tag team, we have three wonderful people. The player who's going to play the role of a timer is Toastmaster Surya. To tell you something about Toastmaster Surya, when I joined Medley, he was the VP and he kind of guided me in terms of what should I do, what should I not be doing. In fact, he played the role of a pseudo mentor to me. So Surya works as a HR professional in a company called Plintronic. And when it comes to brevity, what he told me is he likes to always keep the communications short and sweet. So even when I did reach out to him for an article for the Medley Matters newsletter, his article was very short and very sweet. Over to you, Toastmaster Surya. If you can explain to me the role of timer that you will be playing today.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Today I'm playing the role of timer. As a timer, it's my responsibility to make note of the timings of every speech. So today my job is straight and simple, since we have only prepared speech and evaluation, and all the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. Evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes. So the green card shows qualifying time, yellow card shows the target time, and red card shows the maximum time. I will be changing my background as per the time. For example, for a prepared speech, I would look like as if I'm sitting in the middle of an Amazon forest with a green background behind me. And at 6th minute, it would look like as if I would look like as if I'm sitting in front of a sunlight in summer. And 3rd, 7th minute, red card will be shown, where I would be changing background to red as if I'm swimming in a pool of blood. So I request all the speakers and the evaluators to pin my video so that you can easily identify the time change in my background. All the best to all the speakers and evaluators. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Surya. To play the role of an accountant today, we have Toastmaster Amita. Toastmaster Amita is a psychologist, and she likes reading a lot. And when I did check with her what her aspirations are, or what she wants to talk about brevity, she said that whenever you're communicating, it's always better that you communicate it in a way which is short, and also in a way the person understands. If you're going to say talk a lot, or say speak a lot, or write a lot, it doesn't communicate anything properly. And she also believes that love is God. So she is going to play the role of an accountant today. Over to you, Amita.
Thank you, G. So today we have a beautiful session, a speakathon session. I really wish to enjoy each of your speeches. Your job is to make me jobless. So my job is basically to keep track of your filler words, long pauses, frequently used words, and any gap fillers that you use throughout your speech. So so these gap fillers and words are the ones which hampers the quality of your speech. So make sure that your speeches are perfect. I will hand over my report by the end of the meeting. Over to you, G.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amita. And finally, the grammarian role is played by Toastmaster Lavanya. And when I did check with her what she thinks about the theme of the day today, she said that Twitter and InShort is actually changing the way in which we communicate. And compared to, say, reading the normal newspapers, where it is a lot more detailed, InShort communicates it clearly. And in such a scenario where we don't have a lot of time, brevity is something which we need on a day-to-day basis, is what she said when I did check with her on the theme of the day. Over to you, Lavanya.
Thank you, G. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce a word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is shelf. As a verb, it means to place or arrange item, especially books, on a shelf. Example, we had cataloged and shelved all the books shipped in that way. It also means decide not to proceed with a project or a plan, either temporarily or permanently. Example, I think we are going to shelve this idea. Plans to reopen the school have been shelved. Each speaker is encouraged to use a word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting, and also report on the usage of word of the day. Thank you, and over to G.
Thank you. That concludes the introduction of the tag role players. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer, come General Evaluator, and the tag team. You have set the stage for 6 speeches spanning from level 1 to level 5. Before I invite the speakers to take the screen, which was the stage, I would request the evaluators to kindly spell out the project objectives, which will help the audience to better judge and evaluate the speeches in their turn. Not just as speeches that fall nicely on our ears, but how well they met the project objectives. First of our speakers is Toastmaster Saravanan. At the request of his evaluator, he is the first speaker, the outgoing VP of Medley, and on course to become the 5th Medleyan to reach the peak of Pathways. Do you know that he was opening batsman and bowler during his school and college? You can believe it once you hear it, right? That's right. Brevity is the essence when you reach senior management roles, he points out. Brevity has helped him during the governance meetings to provide status in a clear and succinct manner. I request his evaluator, DTM Ramanujam, to read out the project objectives. DTM Ramanujam, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Our speaker is attempting a project called High Performance Leadership from Innovative Planning Level 5. This project consists of 2 speeches. The first speech to give is vision of HPL, and second speech is to share the experiences that he had in conducting and completing the project. The speech may be an engaging speech about the project he has completed. It may be humorous, informational, or presented in any style that the member chooses. But it should not be the same content what is being dealt out in the High Performance Leadership Manual by Toastmasters International. The time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. I am sure our speaker is going to take us into one of an exciting journey of his HPL project. Thank you, and over to the Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, DTM Ramanujam. I wish Toastmaster Saravanan the same. Toastmaster Saravanan, be good, do good. Be good, do good. Toastmaster Saravanan.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Let me share my screen. Please let me know whether you are able to see or not.
Yes, Saravanan, we are able to see.
Okay. So over the past 2 decades, there have been a lot of changes in this world. It started with nuclear families, and most of the families are nuclear in nature nowadays. If you take any apartment complex and if you slice it horizontally, you will see a vast demography of citizens, starting from 1-year-old up to 80, 85-year-old senior citizens as well. And if you see, the bulk of it are senior citizens. After a lifetime of spending their time working, raising their families, as well as contributing to the success of the nation, senior citizens deserve the right and dignity to retire with dignity. As residents in the apartment complex, it is our responsibility to take care of them, because nowadays, because of this nuclear family phenomenon, everybody is living alone. Everybody is living independent. And this is the essence of my project as well. To care for those who once cared for us is one of the highest honors. We have to do that for the senior citizens. That is why be good as well as do good. In my first project, in first speech in high performance leadership, I talked about the vision, mission, as well as the goals, and what is the plan to achieve that goals. So I talked about those in my first speech. In my second speech today, I will be talking about how we have implemented that plan and what is the lesson that I have learned, as well as the experience I have got from that project as well. So I will be able to tell you about that during this session. So just to recap, what is the vision that we talked about when I gave my first speech? The vision was to provide a relaxed environment, free from harm, by promoting a positive culture as well as continuously improving the health, safety, and well-being of our residents. This is for the vision that was formulated for my community in Mahalakshmi Apartments, Adaya. The key word here is continuously improving. That means we constantly look at things, monitor that, and ensure that we make life better for the citizens, especially the senior citizens, because we wanted to ensure a senior friendly atmosphere is available in our residential complex. There are 4 goals we have come up with. One is understand the safety hazards, remove them. Second one is ensure that all the equipments are maintained properly with annual maintenance contract. Third, training opportunities. Provide training for each and every citizen and make technology easy so that the residents will be able to use technology in a manner they can easily use. For that, there are 2 teams. One is the guidance committee. Second one is the entire set of teams who help me. I was the project lead for that particular set of goals as well as the tasks that are involved in that goal. And for supporting me, I had 4-member team. And we had a guidance committee to oversee the entire proceedings. They are the governance for the entire proceedings to guide as well as to nurture as well as to provide support wherever is required. The 4 goals have been contributed into each and every task as such. So as you can see here, for safety hazards, there are various tasks. Implementing safety cameras, monitoring the visitors, as well as coming up with local clinics, medical stores, so that we can support the entire residents as such. So I came up with the responsibility matrix, risk and issues, what is the contingency plan for if there are any issues, what is the mitigation plan for any risk as such, what is the deadline to meet. And this is a 2-month project, and we were able to complete within 2 months and got the entire goals satisfied using the entire team. And this is the other set of goals: providing training opportunities to the entire residents, and then making technology easy by providing some of the emergency contacts on field dials, as well as ensuring that all the EB bills properly, as well as water tax, are paid for the senior citizens on behalf of them. And this is the overall project plan we have come up with. So you can see here what are the goals that are there, what are the tasks that are involved, and who are all the vendors, to whom it was assigned to, what was the start date, this is related to that, what is our budget amount, and how we can implement it, what is the status currently. So all the tasks which we have taken up in the beginning were all completed. And overall budget, we have come up with 2 things. One is the one-time budget, and the other one is the ongoing budget. One-time budget we collected as a corpus and collected that. It was coming around 1,60,000 rupees, and ongoing 25,000 per month. This is the overall budget cost for that. Then overall, what is the experience I learned because of this project? The main things that I've learned are what are the things that have gone wrong? What are the things that have gone right? And what I will see, you can see here are like what we have over a period of 2 months time. What are the things that have gone wrong? First one is commitment. Getting the commitment of the entire residents was very difficult because we had nearly 24 members in the committee, in the entire residential forum. And to get the commitment of everybody, because everybody have different priorities. For some, the priority was coming up with security cameras. For some, the priority was to go and whitewash the entire apartment. So each and everybody had different priorities altogether. So we have to come up with what are the priorities that are needed and work along with them, understand their priorities. At the same time, we have to ensure that whatever the strategic objectives we have come up with, that is satisfied as well. Third one is collection of funds. There are 2 things in that. One is the one-time cost, another one is the ongoing cost. Wherein, like for the one-time cost, we have to get the money upfront. So we came up with the strategy of coming up with the token advance. So for example, every resident have to come up with 25,000 rupees per head. But what we did is we collected only 5,000 rupees as a token advance so that we will get their commitment. And once they are ready to pay that amount, we pulled in that amount, come up with the code, and then came up with the entire cost and got their commitment to provide those entire costs as well. It was a difficult thing to do, but what I would say here is when you take an apartment complex of this much of big size, we have to ensure that we have to have several things going right, then only we can implement that. For those several things that have gone right, there are four things I wanted to point out. They are four P's. One is perseverance. Perseverance is more important because what we are doing is it's a social cause. It's for the betterment of the society. It's for ensuring the safety standards are met for the senior citizens. So we have to be very perseverance on whatever we do. That is the first thing. Second thing is political savvy. This is very important when you deal with a wide variety of teams or wide variety of residents, because what is political savvy is 51% of your residents should be in your side, so that in case of any forum, a guidance committee or team meeting, they will be in a position to support, because that is where the quorum is needed. At the same time, that is where the percentage also matters. So whatever we do, we have to ensure that the 51% is along with us. That's one of the important lessons I learned. Third thing is being polite, because we are dealing with people who have gone through various things in their life. They have their own work pressure, life pressure, wife pressure, everything. So we have to ensure that we understand what that is, and we have to be polite and ensure that we have to know about the mission, vision, goals, strategic objectives, and understand that what it is needed to make sure that we reach that goal. So for us in the guidance committee as well as in the team member committee, we were always fixated towards the goals. We wanted to ensure that we have to go towards the goals. So we faced several hardships, but we were polite and ensured that we were in a position to reach those goals. Fourth one is progress. Progress is very important because at any point of time, we have to ensure that whatever way we go, we have to progress in the right side. And the guidance committee was very helpful in that. In the overall 2 months of period, we met 5 times in the guidance committee. And those guidance committee are not ordinary members. They are experienced people who have played various roles in their corporate life and who have gone through all these personal issues as well as gone through all the government staffs and everything. So they were very helpful in all the ways, and they were supporting us all the ways. So we were able to make progress in such a way that we were able to complete the entire project within the 2 months of time, and we were able to complete that. So I wanted to show you some of the things which we have accomplished in the entire 2 months of time. First one is the wiring for this one. This photo you can see is the wiring for the security systems. So we were able to get the vendor, and we were able to complete within 1 month itself. We were able to put those security cameras at the strategic locations so that we will be able to capture the people who are coming inside and going outside as well. Because when you have 60% of the residents as senior citizens, you have to be very careful and ensure that whoever comes in, it is monitored, as well as whoever goes out, it is monitored as well. And then from the AMC part also, we wanted to ensure that whatever motors or we are having or like elevators we are having, we wanted to ensure that all are taken care of at the right time so that that will not cause any trouble later on. Then because of this COVID situation, we have to come up with face shields. And then this is our watchman. So you can see here how he stands, right, with the face shield. And then we have got the everything that are needed from a COVID perspective as well. And, this one is more of like from a lift perspective also. We have come up with the covering for the lift so that nobody just puts their hand inside and then get their things disturbed as such. So we wanted to ensure that the lifts are properly secured. At the same time, we wanted to ensure that all the lightings and everything are proper so that when we talk about the video systems or like security cameras, those are all properly. And then we went around the entire complex to ensure that none of the hazardous things are available there, which can hamper the movement of senior citizens as well as children as well. So we were able to clear those as well. And then from a trees and plantation perspective also, we wanted to ensure that we clean up everything so that we are in a good position to take care of those plantations as well. And then from our elevators, water pumps, all these things we were able to handle that, and then we were in a position to clear that as well, and we were able to come up with the AMCs as well. So overall, it was a very good learning for us, and we were able to implement that, and it was a good learning for me as well. So I just wanted to open it for any question and answers if you have, so that I can clarify those doubts whichever you may have. If you have any questions, I will be able to happy to answer that, or we can move on.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saravanan. Do you have the time to take questions? Would you be within your time?
Okay, so do you have time?
Timer. I don't quite think so, Saravanan.
I don't think so too.
Exactly.
Okay,
I think, I think there's an issue. So therefore, let me say this to you: be good, do good is an apt mission for an aging nation where a lot of people are seeking dignity. Thank you very, very much. And before I move on to the next speaker, allow me to say a small little nugget from history, again talking about brevity. Abraham Lincoln was once asked, and he was a tall, awkward, gangly kind of a lean-bodied guy. How long should a man's legs be? Without batting an eyelid, he said, long enough to reach the ground. You couldn't have given a shorter answer, I thought. I thought his answer reached the message just like his legs reached the ground. The benefit of brevity, if I may. The next speaker is Toastmaster Tyagarajan, T.R. Tyagarajan, a former president of Medley, the youngest of all Medlians when it comes to energy and passion and being the first with the project readiness and ready at the starting line. In response to a challenge in the Hindu for an English word, the equivalent of sambandhi in Tamil, loosely translated as in-law, he came up with the word family mate. For example of brevity, no surprises, this Shakespeare among Toastmasters says, brevity is the soul of wit, quoting or borrowing from his favorite writer, Shakespeare in Hamlet. I request his evaluator, Toastmaster Jagannathan, to read out his project objectives.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Our Toastmaster T.R. Tyagarajan is delivering his Level 2 Project 3 Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring from the pathway Dynamic Leadership. The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmaster envisions mentoring, and also for the member to share some aspect of his previous experience as a prodigy. The speech could be from any time of his life as a prodigy and any aspect of his prodigy experience. The speech should not be a report on the content of the introduction of Toastmasters mentoring project. Timer, please note the timing is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Yeah. Salutations to all of you. The title of the speech is Mentoring. It's basic. Mentoring is extremely essential to shape a Toastmaster. He can never sell that idea of becoming a mentee. Yes. If it were not so, he will turn into a rudderless ship, groping in the dark. Yes, fellow Toastmasters, if you make a keen insight, you will realize that the mentoring is indispensable even for the prestigious professionals like doctors and lawyers. Then obvious question is, who is a mentor? Mentor is friend, philosopher, and guide of the mentee. That's it. And he has always to keep in view that time and patience are two great barriers in achieving his mission. He has also to adhere to the strategic dictum of knowledge is from known to the unknown. Yes, surely. As a classic example, the phrase icebreaker may be a baffling one for the mentee. The mentor can demystify it simply by saying that icebreaker is nothing but a micro autobiography. See, please don't go and search the dictionary micro autobiography. I coined it for icebreaker. Micro autobiography. And the mentor can also say that the icebreaker can be divided into 3 segments, and portraying lucidly that the past, present, and future. Mentors should never aspire to lengthen the list of its mentees, as it will undermine the efficiency of mentoring. Teaching is learning, take it from me. So mentoring is a two-way process. Yes, there is every possibility that mentor may also get a few tips from the mentee himself. And then selection of mentor. Selection of mentor is a crucial process. The mentee should never rush into a decision in the choice of his mentor. He should patiently listen to the performance of various senior Toastmasters. He should never be swayed by the titles of senior Toastmasters. Rather, his accent should be on the temperament and attitude of the would-be mentor to ensure that so that it will ensure that those match with that of his own. And mentoring session can be programmed once in a fortnight. And motivation should be the byword of mentoring by the mentor. And you should the mentor should throw his entire weight behind the mentee in order to achieve highest perfection and excellence of the mentee in every area of Toastmastering. As for the mentee, he should realize that the journey of a Toastmaster is boundless. It is limitless. And he should never turn into a battered engine. Rather, you should always be a human dynamo. His complacency and inertia should be his adversaries. So what should be his motto? His motto should be always, so much to do, so little done. That should be the motto of the mentee. And club mentoring. Club mentoring is a kind of collective counseling. And I am highlighting a few points. And number one, the club mentor should have a close surveillance of all the activities of the club. And number two, he should oversee that contested elections are organized meticulously. And number three, he should have periodic dialogues with the ExCom members, as well as the senior members. and propel them to earn highest DCP points. And that's it. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. So very well said. Mentoring, it's basic. Again, you can't cut a word or a vowel or nothing out of that. That is so very frugally said, but so very truthfully said. Often truth is frugal with words. Thinking, thank you very much, rather, for drawing from a lifetime of experience as a Toastmaster. Thank you very, very much. We move on to now another young speaker, Toastmaster Adishay Jain, and I request his evaluator, Toastmaster Parag Ray, to kindly read out his project objectives.
Thank you, Toastmaster Thomas. A very good evening, everyone. Toastmaster Atishay will be delivering his Pathways Level 1 Project 3, and the project title is Researching and Presenting. Toastmaster Atishay will give and following the path of dynamic leadership. Toastmaster Atishay, please note the objective of your speech as follows. You should give a basic research methodologies idea to all the audience, present a well-organized, well-researched topic. Third objective, the speech may be humorous, informational, or any style of these two. The speech content may the speech style may be work well together and meet the objective. Timer, please note the time duration of the speech is 5 minutes to 7 minutes. All the very best, Toastmaster Atishay.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Parag Ray. A word about the next speaker. Through his patience and perseverance, he got millions to accept his name spelling with fewer alphabets than they started with. And today they appreciate that brevity. Now tell me, how many millions know that this Toastmaster in college participated for the first ever time weightlifting competition and created a record for the heaviest squat, which still remains unbroken? That is true humility. If I were to have had this experience, I would have told this story in two speeches, my first two speeches. Now, brevity, very correctly, aptly pointed out by Atishay, in speech and writing is a sign of knowledge. The fewer words it takes someone to express and explain the idea shows a clear head. Very well said, very well observed. As for an example to brevity, there is no humility. There he really believes that his speeches are a good example, and prove it with the fact that he has never gone till the red card shown by the timer. So over to Toastmaster Adishay Jain to tell us about Mind Maze. Mind Maze, Toastmaster Adishay Jain.
Thank you for the warm introduction, Thomas sir. Quick audio video check. Am I clearly audible? Okay, thank you. So, okay, everyone. I request your attention to this pen, right? Please look at this pen and focus. Watch it move slowly. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Boom. You are now under a trance and are about to fall asleep in 3, 2, 1. Did that work? I don't think so. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It seems hypnosis doesn't work as well over Zoom because I don't hear anyone snoring. And that's probably for the good, because in the next few minutes, we are going to uncover many a magician's secrets and find out what they have in common with performers and therapists. I am talking about hypnosis. Make sure you're awake to listen. And just to check that, for everyone who has their camera turned on, could you please give me a smile so I know that you're not under the trance? Thank you. Most of us have a very distorted idea of what hypnosis is. Just the mention of the word brings back memories from movies and cartoons where one character would hypnotize another and then have them perform antics on their command. Anyone remember that episode from Tom and Jerry? Right. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, hypnosis doesn't really work that way. Modern hypnosis began in the 1700s when Dr. Franz Mesmer, the person whose last name gave us the word mesmerize, started using something similar to hypnosis to treat illnesses in his patients. He had a theory that he called animal magnetism, where he hypothesized that there were invisible magnetic fluids all around us, and he insisted that he could cure people using these fluids and by manipulating that flow. Interestingly, this did result in some of his patients healing and getting better. However, at this time, science could not verify his theory, and it was trashed for being fake and for being a myth. However, this marked the beginning of modern hypnosis. Fast forward a few hundred years, and today, hypnosis is a very real technique and is actively used in modern therapy. In fact, the American Psychological Association recommends that hypnosis be used as a therapeutic technique for patients dealing with depression or PTSD. It is also used in magic shows and by performing artists to bind the audience in awe. However, much unlike what the creators of Tom and Jerry would have us believe, hypnosis isn't about giving up all control to someone else. Instead, it is only a state of extreme focus, relaxation, and susceptibility to external suggestion. I went over dozens of interviews, performances, write ups, and other research material by renowned hypnotists and performers such as James Bride, Ben Cale, John Bramwell, and others to find out exactly how it works, and that is what we're going to discuss now. When a therapist or a magician is trying to hypnotize a subject, they're actually trying to get the subject to relax and transcend to a calm, peaceful mental state. To this end, they sometimes use different types of environmental stimuli, such as lights, music, smells, etc. The hypnotist would get the subject to close their eyes and focus on just one object. It could be asking them to look upwards with their eyes closed. It could be asking them to imagine a color and then see it going deeper and deeper. Anything that the subject make that gets the subject distracted and makes them feel comfortable without experiencing external pressure. Once they are able to induce a state like this, the hypnotist starts to make suggestions, saying things like, "You're unable to open your eyes, your feet are stuck on the ground, you do not have any worries on life, you cannot stop smiling," etc., etc., based on whatever the hypnotist is trying to accomplish at that moment. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the magic happens. Whatever the hypnotist suggests, the subject follows. But how? This is because by this point, the subject's conscious brain has been distracted and the subconscious brain takes control. The subconscious isn't rational. It interprets these suggestions made by the hypnotist as something that is coming from the subject himself. And as a result, the subconscious brain makes the body act on these suggestions. And this is the entire idea of how hypnosis works so well. Now, it's important to note that hypnosis is a voluntary process. So, if you choose not to follow the instructions, if you choose not to focus on the initial steps, if you just choose to do everything the exact opposite of what the hypnotist tells you, you are unlikely to be hypnotized. Moreover, different people have different susceptibility to hypnosis, different hypnotizability, if you may call it that. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This discussion about hypnosis highlights how powerful the human brain is, right? It shows us how it is possible to do things such as changing our perception of the world to even curing illness simply by manipulating what our brain thinks and what it makes us feel. Interesting fact, a 2007 publication in the European Journal for Cancer Care suggested that hypnosis could be a valuable tool to help chemotherapy patients deal with nausea and vomiting. Ladies and gentlemen, our mind is a maze where every corner and every turn leads to a new outcome. Hypnosis is just an example of how our subconscious can be tapped into to make us achieve things we did not think possible. This gives us a lot of questions to ponder upon. What is the true potential of human brain? How much of that potential have we been able to utilize so far? And is it even possible to use hypnosis to unlock more doors in this mental maze? Lots of interesting questions to be answered, but in the interest of brevity, I'll save that for another speech. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Hello, hello there. Is anybody awake? Hello, please wake up from the trance. Don't be tempted, trapped by Aditya's persuasive voice. Let me take you forward to the fourth speaker. The fourth speaker is Toastmaster Dinakaran, and I request his evaluator, Toastmaster Aloysius Raj, to please read out his project objectives. Toastmaster Aloysius Raj.
Toastmaster Dinakaran is presenting Understanding Your Leadership Style today. Purpose statement of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. All the best to Dinakaran.
Toastmaster Dinakaran, I'm so happy to see you back into your old active Toastmastering ways after having had a stretch when office exigencies took the better of you. He is, I don't know how many millions know, he is a lover of sports, and almost all the games we know of, he is good at. And as for the theme, everything is good as long as it's not too much, is his suggestion. And example of brevity. Oh my God. No, I'm not exclaiming. He's saying example of brevity for him is OMG. Very telling. So over to Toastmaster Dinakaran, Michael Madana Kamarajan. Michael Madana Kamarajan, Toastmaster Dinakaran S. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, TM Modi. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Hope you are able to hear me.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the leadership qualities that I have learned through these three characters, Michael, Madan, and Kamarajan. Michael, Madan, Kamaraj, all three are leaders. Michael is a leader who is very much appreciated by all the top leadership. Like, he is actually a very good communicator, very good storyteller. He always meets results. He is always appreciated by the top management at CXO level, like CEOs, CFOs. They like him very much because he always delivers results. Madan is another leader who reports to Michael. If you ask Madan, how about working with Michael? How happy you are? Madan would say that given an opportunity, I would like to work with another leader. Because Michael, he always looks at results. He doesn't bother about people. He's a good communicator, storyteller, that's fine. For him, whatever happens, you meet the outcome, you meet the numbers. He only listens to people and takes decisions. He doesn't talk to all the next level people and then take decisions. On the other hand, Madan is a leader who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. He gives importance to all the leaders at the next level. He discusses with all the leaders, all the subordinates. He knows the strengths and weakness of his subordinates and gives them an opportunity based on their strength. And he makes sure that the next level people are elevated and they are successful in their leadership journey. Kamaraj is another leader. He reports to Madan. He also has an opportunity to work with Michael. He believes in dynamic leadership. To him, leadership is based on the situation. It doesn't go by any specific rules or any specific ways. To him, he learns all the good qualities from both the leaders, Michael and Madan, and makes sure that he implements those qualities in his leadership journey. He is a leader who is very optimistic. He believes in leader by example. He takes the workload from his next level. He makes sure that they are happy with what they are doing. He spends time with the next level of people and understand their feedback or their concerns and make sure that those are all taken care of. To him, leadership quality is not about absolute numbers, whether it is 0 or 1. To him, it is very relative. It is based on the situation that is there on the ground. End of the day, to him, it has to be a win-win situation for both himself and also for the team. He believes in all the good qualities from both the leaders, Michael and Madan. To him, the leadership is a journey. It never ends. He learns and implements all the good qualities. If you ask about me, I would like to be a comrade. I am like a leader. I want to be like a leader who lives by example. And then to me, it's all relative. And my leadership journey doesn't end. It is a learning process. It's a journey that continues. And I believe in learning and I believe in leadership qualities that is being improved. Thank you. Dear Modi.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dinakaran. Friends, if you're wondering how Dinakaran knows your leaders, that tells you something. Leaders and the types, they're all very universal. So in case you have a tough leader, don't take it very personally and you are not alone. Thank you very much, Dinakaran. We now move on to the fifth speaker, who is Toastmaster Rangarajan. And may I request his evaluator, Toastmaster Priyadarshini Belur, to kindly read out his project objective.
Good afternoon to all my fellow Toastmasters. Rangarajan is presenting his from Effective Coaching Level 3. The purpose of this speech is for the member to practice being aware of his thoughts and feelings as well as the impact of his responses on others. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share his or her experience completing the project. And the time allotted is either 2 to 3 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to you, Rangarajan.
Thank you very much, Priya. A word about the next speaker. He is the chief of Medley's Salvation Army. No, they don't have a uniform, but they are ever willing to fill in any breach. And he's also the incoming VPE and already in action. For Rangarajan, 2020 officially ended when SPB passed away on 25th September this year. Sundar Pichai's PowerPoint presentation at Google headquarters in 2017, which had just one sentence each slide and no bullet point. That is his definition of brevity. Over to Toastmaster Rangarajan, P, pitfalls, potholes, and all. Pitfalls, potholes, and all. Toastmaster Rangarajan, P. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you, DDM Thomas. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Gratitude is the best medicine. It heals your mind, your body, and your spirit, and attracts more things to be grateful for. It's an anonymous quote that I came across. Good afternoon, friends. The average age in my home is 77 years. Waking up to hear my mother reciting her hymns and seeing my father perform his morning prayers is reason enough for me to feel grateful every day. I have been taking things for granted for many years until the COVID pandemic struck, after which I have spent a considerable amount of time being with them and seeing their nuances, seeing their everyday activities. It's a blessing just to see them doing their things and doing things for me. Of course, there are minor irritations which happen along the way on almost a daily basis. Some water overflowing from the taps, a spillage of water or food on the floor, and light switches not being switched off. I then realized there is an expectation from my side about them as elders, even though they are well past their 80s and my father is into his 90s. What if the water just flows down? Usually, I used to get upset about all these small, trivial things. But then I started realizing a couple of months ago, is this the right thing to do? Why don't I just go and close the tap or turn off the switch? That might be easier. And then once you take care of the job, after that, you can come back and you can analyze, or you can decide whether you really want to tell them that this was not switched off and that was not turned off. It was a choice. And I started realizing that this is a good way to do it. Do the job first, get the job done first, and then take care of whether you want to tell them or not. Each of these activities comes with a challenge. Do you accept it, or do you reject it, or how do you do it? Nowadays, as time progresses, I feel that every challenge gives an opportunity for me to react differently. I'm blessed to see my parents become children. Not the way the actual children are, when they just do some mischief and they look at the adults and look at their parents and see whether they could just push the limit a little bit more. I try to take things positively. The ultimate goal is to lead a calm and positive life. I see the feedback of my reactions in their eyes. Nowadays, watching television is a sickening prospect. And the way they portray the COVID pandemic is just miserable. I just can't take it. Every day we see it. Just recently, we crossed the 1 crore mark. And what do we see? Oh, there are 1 crore cases of COVID. But no one seems to mention that 92%, that's a whopping percentage, 92% of them have already recovered and gone home and taking care of their lives. Of course, there's a 2.5% fatality rate. Your heart goes out to them. And there are just 5% of the active cases. What's happening here? Now comes the most important question. Is this a subliminal message from the government or the television stations that you better stay at home? The monster is still lurking outside, and be careful, it may just swallow you up. Or is it that if they portray that everything is fine and hunky-dory, we will just go out and the crowds will run amok? And what if the pandemic strikes again? It'll be too difficult for them to contain it. So there is a negative positive story here. I feel that the governments are doing the latter step. I've always wanted to give something back to the society, even when I started my career in my early 20s. But I had the career to take care of. And even during my career, I always used to help only monetarily. After coming close to retirement, I decided that I would like to spend more time with NGOs and helping them out in various activities. I've been doing this NGO stuff for about 6 years now. In my current dispensation, the organization takes care of 105 mentally challenged children. More than half of them are in the 7 to 16 age group. It breaks your heart to hear that they were found abandoned in railway stations or bus terminals, or sometimes even in street corners. So I decided to join them and speak to donors and other corporate institutions and explain the work that we do to solicit funds for various projects. The situation was not very conducive a few months ago. So I reached out to them, and now things are slightly getting better. In the office front, there was a situation where a donor had called and said that he had not received the report. The agitated staff member didn't know what to do because they had an emergency at home due to which the work was pending. So the first thing to do was to assuage the employee and tell them that don't worry, we'll take care of it. And then I reached out to the donor and told him that I apologized first and told him that we will take care of it immediately. Within a couple of days, I sent out the report. The reason for the staff not sending out the report was because the employee had to take care of a parent at home who was severely diabetic. When I called back the donor and explained the situation to them a few days later, the temperatures had cooled down and he felt mellow, and he still continues to be our donor. Being engaged with the community and looking forward to the Saturday meetings at Medley, there is no way that one can be negative. There is always room for positivity. At first, I have to plant the seeds of positivity within myself so that I can spread positivity around. But there's one thing that I can't do anything about. I can't be positive. It's my blood group. It's be negative. Back to the TMO.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Renga. I must really thank you on behalf of all of us for the positivity bomb that you have given us during these COVID times.
Sharon, come here.
We now move on to the last of the speakers, who is Toastmaster Shankar. And to take things forward, I request his evaluator, Toastmaster Sindhu Kalyana Sundaram, to read out the project objectives of this final speech. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Shankar Govindaraj is attempting Level 3, Project 3 from Dynamic Leadership Path. The objective of this manual is for the speaker to introduce and review the use of presentation software, enhance the speech with the use of technology and usage of slides. The purpose of the speech is also for the speaker to demonstrate his or her understanding of how technology can be incorporated in order to enhance the speech. Timer, please note the time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to you, Toastmaster Shankar.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And for Shankar, I'm so happy to see you back again. Another Toastmaster who was lost in the ways of the office work and now back. And by the way, dear Medlians, did you know what Shankar was up to during this lockdown days? One thing he has done is he is learning Hindi. Shankar ne Hindi seekh liya. Congratulations, Shankar. Good to hear that.
Thank you.
Before joining Toastmasters, Shankar says that he used to speak long sentences, write long sentences. Especially with the help of his mentor, he has been able to shorten them, and he can feel the difference. He also believes that that's helping him in his time management. All the best to you, Toastmaster Shankar. Train your prism, Toastmaster Shankar Govindaraj.
Thank you, TMOD. Before that, let me check my presentations are visible.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, TMOD, for your warm introduction. Consider these two situations. You need to introduce to someone, maybe in Toastmaster or outside the Toastmaster, but you have completely forgotten their name. Or you are in one of the important meeting. When your turns to come, you have completely forgotten the information what you speak. May I have some thumbs up whether you or your friends or your family members experience this situation? Thank you. It is a gut-wrenching moment, right? If this sound is familiar to you, you are not alone. Just a minute. Sorry, yeah. If this sounds familiar to you, you're not alone. Don't worry. We have all faced this kind of the pit of the stomach when our feeling is down. But if you see on the other end, there are exceptionally memory people are around. And these people are called who is the polymath, and they are the crowd pillar. But if you see the other, while the rest of us are struggling to get or remember the name of the person which we were introduced a few seconds ago. Well, then I was thinking that if memory is playing a very vital role in our life, why we tend to forget or could not recollect the informations which we know already? The answer is remained open till I read the book Permanent Memory, written by J.N. Reddy. There are a lot of information about the memory in this book, but I was fascinated from this one metaphor which used in the book. In fact, that metaphor, it is unlocked my question that why we tend to forget. The reason is very simple. If you go to a library and ask for a book, even there are hundreds or thousands of books, the librarian will find it the book in no matter of time. Whereas if you go to a librarian home and ask for a book, he will find it very difficult to trace the book. This is because in library, everything it is arranged in a systematic manner. That is why we can trace the book. From this, we can easily understand that if we arranged the manner in a systematically, we can easily recollect our books. The same thing, it is applicable for our memory too. If we put it in the systematic manner and arranged, it can last for a long. Otherwise, it will be momentary. After reading the book, there was a lot of hope for me. Like we can strengthen our muscles in our body, we can train our brain and to improve better and more doing better. The all the things one that we need to improve are some of the techniques or learn some of the techniques and with a small tweak in our lifestyle. I would like to share with you top 3 best technique which I read from the book. The other beauty of this technique, it is very simple, easy to follow, but with a little effort. The first technique is the auto suggestion. Do you have a good memory? So this question asked thousands of people across various age group. You know, the answer was very strange. The result was very strange. Nearly 74% of the people were answered it was no, which means 74% of the people, they were considered or they believe that they don't have a good memory. It is very difficult for them to remember anything. There is a famous quote in Sanskrit which say, Yad Bhavam Dat Bhavade, which means as you think you will become. If you want to improve your memory, first forget telling the people that you tend to forget. And moving on, you need to keep on telling of some of the self-affirmation that believes your subconscious mind believe that you are doing very well at your memory. Some of the subconscious mind, some of the auto suggestion or powerful quotes are, I have excellent memory. I can remember very well. My memory is fantastic. I have superb memory. I will prove to be memory expert. Saying this self-affirmation within yourself, probably daily on regular basis, probably while going for walking, reading, taking bath, even for sleeping. This is the first technique where you need to cultivate to improve our memory technique. The second technique, the natural memory, this is very simple and this can be used by anyone irrespective of the background. All that you need to do that, you need to just spend for 13 minutes in a day. How it works? After doing your breakfast, just to take for 2 minutes after your breakfast and think about what you get up early, what you get up from the morning until you completed for your breakfast. Just aside for chronological order. Then after lunch, from your breakfast to till lunch, similarly, it can go for your evening snacks and dinner and before going to the bed, just spend for 5 minutes and think about what are the things happen in a chronological order. So you will see an amazing result within a month. Probably first 1 or 2 weeks, you will not be able to recollect all the information which you comes. It is fine. And third and fourth week, you will be seeing amazing results which comes to your mind, which comes to your memory, that is the starting point, your natural memories. After 1 month, just spend for 10 minutes before going to the bed and recollect all the information, and that brings a wonder to your memory. And third, very important thing, the technique is break your routine. This is very common, but many of us might not have noticed. If we do the same activity again and again, our mind goes in a autopilot mode, and it will not learn anything new from that activity. I agree. Some of the routine activities are good, like waking up early, exercise in the morning, taking bath, brushing the teeth. These are the very good routines. But some of the routines can become a problem also. So we need to identify those things, and we have to make some plan to come out of that routine activity. For example, I'll give you some example. If you going to your office in the same direction, let's say for to A, now, if you are going in the route A, just to change couple of days from A to B. And similarly, if you are going in the your own car, just to change for a couple of days from your own car to public transport or office transport, there initially your mind resists to do that activities. Thereafter, you will catch a lot of informations in and around what is happening within yourself. Slowly, probably, who knows, in the second route, plan B route, you may find a new information which would be necessary for your time being. To conclude, I learned these three best techniques from the book. There are a lot of best techniques in the world, but I personally gained a lot of information about the book, about these three techniques. And also, as I mentioned that this technique, it is very easy, simple to follow, but with a little effort. Over to Priya Modi.
Sir, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When human mind walks through pathways, its 5 levels, what do you get? You get learnings on mentoring, positivity, hypnotism, leadership, truly a buffet counter. Now, such a buffet counter delivered by these 6 Toastmasters deserves a matching repartee. As you take your breath back after traveling with these 6 speakers, and before you settle down to hear the evaluations, you'll agree in Toastmasters, evaluations are natural corollary to speeches. Like Groucho Marx said, marriage is the chief cause for divorce. Marriage, the wicked fellow said, is the chief cause for divorce. Now, I am not saying that evaluations are anything like divorce, but not when we have such an exceptional lineup of evaluators, second in terms of lineup and strength and glamour to the final district stage of 2021. We will first have Toastmaster Ramanujam, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Saravanan's speech. There was a little technical glitch and Toastmaster Ramanujam could not get back, but he is a chartered accountant. He makes sure things happen. So what has he done? Is Ramanujam in? No problem. His wisdom is with me. He has given me a recording. You know, he is the Division B 2020 evaluation champion, a Toastmaster since 2015. He's a chartered accountant by profession and founder member of Ambattur Toastmasters Club. His example for brevity, kudos guy. His example for brevity is life. 4 letters, 1 word. Brilliant. So here is, if I'm not audible, please tell me. I'll adjust the mic. Saravanan, for you, here is the evaluation.
Masters and guests, a special good evening to my leader.
Audible?
Saravanan. Today, Saravanan took us
Audible? Yeah.
high performance leadership on a very valid and a topic which is quite relevant to everyone, mainly to me as his evaluator. I, far away from my home, India, presently in Oman, felt the need of the care for fellow beings, mainly our elders. I felt the topic that what you choose for this high performance leadership was a very apt one at this generation and times where time is running very fast. Few things that I like in a speech. Point number one, the usage of the presentation or the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint makes the job of a speaker very easy. And he ensured that he didn't put so much of content in the PowerPoint, rather bullet points, and made his talk to speak his message. So it was a brilliant setup that was being done. Second thing that I liked in this thing is bringing back what was his vision and goal and connecting to the new audience, mainly me as an evaluator. I was not so sure about what was his exact goal and vision, though I had an initial talk with him before the speech. But setting up the speech of what was his initial project's purview gave me an idea of what was his HPA project. The third thing I liked is the way that he went on to share his experience. It was a brilliant thing where he told about the problems that he faced, how did he overcome, and everything. That summed up his journey in this project. So I liked few things, but there are some recommendations for him to take the speech to the next level. I felt that setting up of his project or the goals and the vision took a long time because the second project requires the speaker to share his experience. I felt that the experience was very less than the setup and the process that he has done to deliver the project. So if you could have managed his time very well in sharing his experiences, what he went, how he felt, what were the challenges, how did you overcome, what was the resistance, that would have given a 360 view for me to take up the similar project in my apartments. The second thing as a recommendation is, what is the message for me to take and how do I implement it? Yes, I also as a fellow citizen of a country or a normal human being should ensure to take care of others. Yes, he told about the problems, he told about what he learned, the 4Ps and everything. But if he could have dwelt upon more on what was the message that we take, how do we go about doing this in our apartments, that would have been a key takeaway message for me when I listened to any speaker's speech. So to summarize, it was a brilliant HPA project with good PowerPoint presentation, giving his thoughts. If he could have worked on the timing of his speech with more on the experience and the message, it would have been a great speech. Thank you. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you very much. In his absence, I must appreciate and thank my friend DTM Ramanujam. He has always been a resourceful person. He's proved it once again. His absence was never felt, was it? Thank you. And we now move on to the second evaluator, who is Toastmaster Jagannathan. For him, his biggest Toastmaster achievement, apart from the official positions he has taken, has been when he was in the XCOM and he could gain the trust of Infosys management to host the 2018 Division I semi-annual conference at their Scherlingnallur campus, which also has a swimming pool, right? On brevity, he says that he has to still improve upon that. And his example of brevity is, I'm sure it's Atmanirbhar, made by him, I would imagine. You and I are not very different from this flower. Just as this flower is unique, you are unique. Over to Toastmaster Jagannathan.
A little correction, that was from Dhananjaya Hettiararky's speech, the starting 2 sentences of his speech, the world-winning speech. So no Atmanirbhar here. Coming to the evaluation. So the greatest good that we can do for another person is not just to share our riches, but to reveal their own riches. And today, this winter afternoon, DTM TR Tyagarajan has actually given us a guide to how to reveal the riches of your mentee, such as the impact of the speech that I, as his evaluator, recommend to the Vice President Education and the Vice President Public Relations to take this particular script of his and to add it in the newsletter and to give it so that all of our members can benefit from his guidelines to how to be a successful mentor as well as a mentee. In my analysis, his speech has 4 important strengths. The first is the traits of a successful mentor. The objective clearly states that what are the traits of a successful mentor, and he in his own words has explained to us what are the traits of a successful mentor. To recap, he said a word called micro autobiography, which you will not find it in Oxford dictionary, but you will find it in Tyagarajan's dictionary. It is his own Atmanirbhar that he came up with this word of micro autobiography. And that's how you, as a successful mentor, can make sure your mentee feels comfortable. The second positive is the most biggest positive that I see, and he fulfilled his objective of the speech in this positive, is how Toastmaster envisions mentoring. Most of us don't delve into this. And he, with 4 points, teaching is learning. You can learn from your mentee, have sessions fortnight, and your entire cycle is to learn from every perspective. That's how Toastmaster envisions mentoring. And he clearly pointed that out. The third positive that I see is the traits of a successful mentee. In accordance with the theme of the day, brevity, so much to do, so little done. That's the trait of a successful mentee. And he was able to bring that and give it in such brief words for us to learn. Now, what are the recommendations? The specific object, there are 2 objectives. One, he fulfilled. The other objective is his experience as a prodigy. In all across the speech, across 5 to 7 minutes, I personally did not see an anecdote or a story narrating his experience as a prodigy. Given his experience in Toastmasters as well as in life, he must have had 1 or 2 anecdotes for us to share so that we can take from it. The second is not with respect to the speech, the area of recommendation, but in the agenda, I noticed that the mentor column was absent. I'm not sure whether that was by a mistake of the VP head or the secretary. So this is not related to the speech, but if you can connect to the VP head and assign a mentor, or if it was missed, we can make sure that there is a mentor for you. So overall, the impact of the speech, as I said, it is for the club to use your experiences and use it in the newsletter appropriately. If you could have explained to us your experience as a prodigy, that would have meant a lot more value add to us. We have fulfilled the objectives. All the very best.
Thank you very much. This is what makes an evaluation a speech. This is how an evaluation can make a speech, not just a speech, but a message for the club. Very interestingly put. On to the next evaluation, which is by Toastmaster Aloysius Raj, who takes on the 4th speech. About Aloysius, he is an area level winner at both evaluation and table topics. As for brevity, he says, simple sentences with engaging words can leave lingering thoughts for a lifetime. And a powerful example of brevity, clouds poured from the heavens, wiping his tears. All noticed that rain, but not his tears of pain. Alliterated well. Over to Toastmaster Aloysius Raj.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abraham, for those wonderful words. To Toastmaster Dinakaran on his speech, when I looked at the title, I was a bit considered or taken aback a little because Michael Madana Kamarajan is a very local flavor of a movie that came, all of us know, where Kamal acted in different avatars. So I was just looking at how many avatars he is going to put through and how he's going to correlate this movie with his speech. But he addressed the global audience, I would put it, right, without mentioning the movie or taking examples from any of that movie. He took examples. He introduced characters after character to identify how Michael reacts, Madan reacts, and Kamarajan reacts. From a leadership perspective, if you look at every Toastmasters guidebook, you will observe 4 things: learn, evolve, how do you administer things, and demonstrate them. simply abbreviate it into lead, learn, evolve, administer, and demonstrate. Today, in your speech, you clarified three types of leadership styles you observed. Of Michael, results oriented. With Madan, you took up motivational leadership, where leadership breeds leadership was clearly given. He shows, goes, knows the way. And you took up Kamarajan at the end, where situational leadership was showcased, whereas optimistic he leads by example and spends a lot of time with the employees. In terms of your speech content, brevity was an exemplified structure. It was clear. I did not feel you were ending the speech. I was just listening on and on how you are explaining about each one of these aspects in a simple structure. Authoring and bringing in these different characters brought in a little bit of flavor into your speech, and telling my hero is this guy and I am the hero made yourself as the hero of your speech as well. This is what went good and how your speech excelled well. In terms of vocal variety, you could have added a lot of vocal variety. In terms of little drama, where you could have enacted a little bit on how as a leader you should do things. That's one. Number two, you could have brought in a message or a situation where you faced and acted differently, being a good leader. This would have elevated the relationship of your speech with the audience a little bit. As an audience, I had to feel the connect there. Organization and structure of the speech, like it was simple. You started with directly on the Madan motive, Michael and Kamarajan together. But in terms of the structure of his speech, would expect a highly positive introduction, a conclusive end, and transitions. So one transition to another transition. How do you do it? How do you justify each transition? Either with an anecdote, story, or a message contained in each transition. That we could have organized it a little bit. In terms of scripting, we should focus those areas in terms of. But overall, your brevity of content worked well. Your authoring style is simple, bringing different shades of these characters and bringing up a story nicely connected and well connecting yourself to a leadership style at the end, which primarily proved and you met the objective. But work on scripting a little bit more, which will add more flavor and engage the audience more. With that, over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aloysius. We will now have Toastmaster Parag Ray evaluating Toastmaster Adishay's Mind Maze. Now, winner of the Division E Evaluation Contest 2020, Parag has done his Pathways Innovative Planning already, and he's also received last year the Leadership Excellence Award. And he believes that a strong vocabulary and speaking in your own style is the way to achieve brevity. And where he finds brevity? In newspapers and genuine media. I will have a sitting with him to understand where you get that second species he's talking about. Over to Toastmaster Parag Ray.
Thank you, Toastmaster Thomas. May I please request Surya to state the background for as a timer? Yeah, thank you. The hypnotized wave of mind maze can be entangled by the masculine and the feminine nature of the mind. A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and my dear target speaker, Toastmaster Atishay Jain. The title Mind Maze, speaker Toastmaster Atishay Jain had proved, I think the speaker and the title aligned each other with the best possible way. The maximization of the awareness of the hypnotism by the topic mind maze, Atishay proved his name as well. Atishay means maximize and maximum. He has proved and delivered a wonderful speech for the research topic relying on the hypnotism. Example he has provided of lot of hypnotists and the experiment that they have conducted. So my evaluation would be following by the 4P framework in speeches. First two P in the strongest two tricks that made me absolutely hypnotized throughout your speech was P for purpose, P for pause. Let's talk about the pauses that you have taken very smartly. You have started your speech by showing us a hypnotistic way of act. Then you are just moving your sketches slowly here and there with a very smart pauses. Then you made us count your fingers one by one. Then you clapped and tried to get ourselves within ourselves to be awake to listen to your speech. Smartly taken the pauses. Second strongest point, the purpose. You not only met the purpose of your speech by providing a research topic, but also made the purpose of your words that you are delivering to the audience by in terms of conveying the message about the hypnotism and the act of a strong brain of a human being. You have, for an example, you refer in your research topic that European journal has the proof that hypnosis can be used in the treatment of chemotherapy patients in terms of controlling their tendency towards puking very frequently. No doubt you are a good speaker, Toastmaster Atishay, but your journey from a good speaker to a great speaker do have a halt at my recommendation point. Recommendation point number one, the presentation. Third P, I found during your speech you were trying to adjust your camera on your face, on your areas. So try to avoid that because this creates a tendency and thinking process in the audience that the speaker is feeling nervous at some point of time. Secondly, your eye contact were moving from your screen to the content. I found you were following some content. Last P, the pitch. Throughout your speech, I found your pitch was absolutely monotonous. Try to work on your pitch because I found you were using however very frequently. The connection of however between two sentences always fetch two different pitches of your sentences. Summing up, your speech was absolutely aligned the structure of a good hypnotist. The strongest point I found in your speech, the way you made your purpose and the pauses you have taken. Recommendation, try to work on your pitch and the presentation. All the very best, Toastmaster Atisai. I will love to listen all of your future speeches. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Parag. We now move on to Toastmaster Priya evaluating the fifth of the speeches. We all know Priya for her peacock dance on the district stage. But do you know, Medlians, that she holds a diploma in medical transcription from Georgia University? The more you will know, the more you talk to her. Among her many achievements, she is a proud winner in the first year itself of the Role Model Award. As for brevity, again, so very brief. Brevity is pleasing, is her description. And she also says, with brevity, a few sentences are enough to tell the truth. Over to you, Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you. Today, one Toastmaster amidst us shared his secret of happiness. Yes, be thankful for what you have. Absolutely. Gratitude is the catalyst for the happiness. Good afternoon to all my fellow Toastmaster and Rangarajan in particular. I see your whole speech as something which talked about joy of giving. The few things which I really like the most is the simplicity at its best is what I call. There were so many stories, especially when you talked about your parents and how they get irritated with every little thing. And what was the solution you gave? Let me do the job first and talk next. Then you talked about the reality check. 2020 has always been on one thing. We have been focusing on just this virus. And you talked, yes, we all know we have crossed the mark of 1 crore, but let us see the positive side. 92% of population has recovered, and that gave a good feeling. The best of all was when you walk the talk. You always had this guilty feeling that you never got to do anything back or give anything back to the society. And now when given a chance, yes, you grabbed it and now you are part of this NGO, which helps the mentally challenged kids. And this was definitely a feel-good factor for me. Now to this negative blood group Toastmaster, what are my few recommendations? I saw you carried 5 different stories, and I saw that they were not interconnected, and somewhere I felt, how am I connected to the first, third, or the fifth story? So that's where I felt I was in loss. It would have been really good if you had made it very simple. Now talk of AC and BC. What is AC and BC? After Corona and before Corona. Now you said you have been spending so much time with your parents, and that's when you got to see the reality which happens when you sit 24/7 with them. And then after this, now when we are back to the new normal, the shift in our focus was just very little. It was the mind, the mindset, which made us shift and brought some kind of happiness within. I think this small recommendation of this would have made this story very easy and more connected to all of us. Overall, as usual, you always try to put the simple things, simple stories, and give your true examples. And the best part of all was when you walk the talk, you gave your best example. If you could have taken this recommendation, definitely this would be one of the most finest speech, I'll say. Anyways, I have learned a big lesson today. I will say the hardest enemy to escape, or the hardest jail we all are trying to escape, is our mind. So it is a must that we stay positive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Priya. We now move on to the last of the evaluators. But look at the irony. Today's top of the mind terror number one should give us such an accomplished evaluators. I mean, the wretched virus and lockdown, we now have the benefit of listening for the first time to Toastmasters Sindhu Kalyanaraman, such an accomplished evaluator. If you have the patience, I'll tell you, 2016 division runner-up, 2017 same, 2018 same, 2019 the division winner, 2020 the current champion of her division. And if you look at her describing brevity, she mixed brevity with a brew and says that, like a conversation over coffee, brew it till it's just perfect. So very insightfully said. The chiseling that happens to get that final refined product of, the brief product, very well established, I would imagine. That, I think, is great insight. And as for brevity, look at it. The second person saying the same thing. The brevity of human life. That's the topmost example of brevity. I think Ramanujam also said that something similar. This should awaken us from the deep desire to create and add value. Yet she is going to add value by evaluating Shankar's speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, DTM Thomas. On a winter Sunday afternoon, when you're listening to an informational speech complemented with pictorials and visuals, you feel you've made the right decision. Good afternoon, Toastmasters friends and Toastmaster Shankar. Now, because you used an informational style of speech, my evaluation of your speech is based on the following 5 parameters, namely introduction, flow of thought, content, spontaneity, call for action. Number 1, when you said, consider a situation where you've just introduced a member and then you've forgotten his name. Those words found me suddenly sitting erect because you were connecting to me at a very personal level. You were connecting to me using a scenario that most of us have faced in our lives. That was an example of instant audience connect. Hats off to you. Number 2, flow of thought. The way your thought flowed was aptly complemented with the visuals you had on the screen. For example, when you said break free from barriers, I vividly remember that orange colored paperboard striking out from the white paperboards, or that goldfish jumping out from the bowl. Excellent flow of thought from introduction to content to conclusion. Number 3 comes to content. In tune with today's theme, which was brevity, you had exactly power-packed 3 points, which were autosuggestion, natural memory, break free from your barriers. And I think you aptly compensated them with your intonation when you said it was very difficult for them to do it, or I don't think you should be doing that. Your emphasis on certain words were communicating the emotions that you were feeling, that I was able to travel with you on your journey. Now, from being such a powerful speaker, How do you move up notches high to become a very intense and profound speaker? Number one, spontaneity. I felt that your speech was too rehearsed. Considering that our audience attention span is about 3 to 4 minutes, you could have introduced spontaneity. Now, how would you do that? You could have questioned the audience with questions such as, do you remember what Toastmaster Atishay was speaking about hypnotism? Or do you remember what Toastmaster Ranga was speaking about taking care of his parents? So when you introduce such spontaneity, you become more vulnerable. And when you make the audience vulnerable, you make them feel humane. When you make them feel humane, you make them feel connected with your speech, especially when it is an information-driven speech. Number two, call for action. Any information-driven speech needs to have a summary in order to emphasize your points. And I think that was missing. You could have concluded by saying, hence the 3 important points for memory is number 1, natural memory, or auto-suggestion, break free from thoughts. And then you could have asked the audience, what are you going to do to enhance your memory this Christmas? What is going to be your New Year resolution? By calling for action, you're making the audience take ownership and accountability for the message that you are driving. On the whole, to summarize, your strengths were great audience connect, fantastic flow of thought, great content coupled with intonation. If you could work on your spontaneity and calling for action, I think you would move notches up to become a profound speaker. I look forward to hearing more such intense speeches from you. All the very best. Over to you, DTM Thomas Abraham.
Thank you very much. I need some time to recover. It's a little like visiting 6 kacheris all on the same day, back to back. This is the season for it, isn't it? I am duty bound to take things forward, and in the spirit of today's topic, I would request the timer, Toastmaster Surya, to please share his report, timer's report. Toastmaster Surya?
Yeah. Prepared speeches, we have 2 disqualification. I'll read out the qualified speaker's name. DTM Tyagarajan qualified, Atishay qualified, Toastmaster Dinakaran qualified, and Toastmaster Rangarajan had qualified. In evaluation, again, we had 1 disqualification. I'll read out the qualified evaluator's name. Toastmaster Ramanujan, Toastmaster Jagan, Toastmaster Parag, Toastmaster Priyadarshini, and Toastmaster Sindhu. Shall I start the detailed report?
Yes, please do, please do, please do.
Prepared speech, Toastmaster Saravanan, 12 minutes, 55 seconds. DTM Tyagarajan, 6 minutes, 35 seconds. Toastmaster Atishay, 6 minutes, 45 seconds. Toastmaster Dinakaran, 3 minutes, 48 seconds. I'm really sorry, even Toastmaster Dinakaran is also disqualified. Toastmaster Rangarajan, 7 minutes, 47 seconds. Toastmaster Shankar, 8 minutes, 14 seconds. Toastmaster Ramanujan, 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Toastmaster Jagan, 3 minutes, 14 seconds. Toastmaster Aloysius, 4 minutes, 17 seconds. Toastmaster Parag, 3 minutes, 18 seconds. Toastmaster Priyadarshini, 3 minutes, 14 seconds. And Toastmaster Sindhu, 3 minutes, 26 seconds. Over to you, T. Modi.
Thank you very, very much. Now over to the R-counter.
Thank you, Thomas, sir. So it looks like I did have some work after all, but definitely it was not a work overload. So with that, I would like to present my counter report. I hope all of you can look at it. Yeah, so starting with the role players, our sergeant at arms had 1 pause, 1 and, 1 or so, in no, so, you know, or filler words. Our president had used and unnecessarily once, 2 hours and 3 arms. Thomas sir used 1 1 or and 1 pause. He had 1 pause in his speech. Coming to our speakers, Toastmaster Saravanan had used 2 ands, 2 hours, and frequently used words like because, what it is as well, and 5 so's. Toastmaster Atishay had a clear speech. Toastmaster Dinakaran had 1 pause and used make sure pretty frequently. Toastmaster Rangarajan used one 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 so, and he had one pause. Toastmaster Shankar had two pauses, two ands, one and frequently used words like the and it is. Toastmaster T.R. Tyagarajan had one one and he had yes as his frequently used word. Now coming to the evaluators, DTM Ramanujam, Toastmaster Parag and Toastmaster Sindhu had clear speeches. Toastmaster Aloysius had 2 hours. Toastmaster Priyadarshini had one and 2 hours and one arm. And Toastmaster Jagannathan had 2 hands and one arm. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very, very much. It's worrisome for the speakers. The filters that the accountants are using, they're getting very, very fine. You are catching micro elements, but good. Over to the last of the tag players for the grammarian report. May I request Lavanya, please?
So today's meeting was a grammarian's delight, I would definitely say that. And with Toastmaster of the day, Thomas sir, I always have this challenge to keep track of your vocabulary and the words that I have to make a mention. But I hope I did the best today. And I would just want to share the screen. I hope you're able to see my screen now. Okay, so a lot of new words today. I thoroughly enjoyed. So just if you can just take a look at it. Hiatus, couple of words really grabbed my attention today. Toastmaster Narasimhan used hiatus, and Tyagarajan sir uses idiom, groping in the dark. I really liked it. It's very new. And Toastmaster Shankar used pitch of the stomach. Hunky dory, Toastmaster Rangarajan used it. And others, though it is slightly familiar, I just got hold of these words. I really like the evaluation style of Toastmaster Prayag and Toastmaster Sindhu. It was very nice. So I just got those evaluation style as well. And maybe you can just have a glance. I'll just keep this screen for some time. And I also have few suggestions where we can weed out some weak words like very. I heard often we use this word very and always. So instead of very, we can use very. For example, if you use very good, you can use excellent. Very nice, it could be kind. Sometimes when we are using always, we can use every time, all the time, no matter what. So we can try to replace these words with these words which would be more precise. So that's my report, and over to Thomas, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Like I said, what do I feel as an individual? Forget my role. 2 hours, it's been one big sangam of human thoughts, mindset action, not yet settled in my mind. So I would brave on and say in conclusion that allow me to share my definition of brevity. It's frugal with words. And if you'll allow me a concession of 3 more words, I will add pithy with meaning. Frugal with words, pithy with meaning. I have not patented it yet. Hope you approve of it. And my final argument in favor of brevity is aesthetically appealing. In fact, one of the speakers said that brevity is beautiful. I think Priya said it possibly. I don't remember. You see David by Michelangelo. That is closest to perfection. Art that's closest to perfection. Why not an extra ounce of flesh, which is marble? In TQM, total quality management, there is no place for the unnecessary and the unwanted. The Japanese way, if you look at it, there is something spiritual about frugality. Across all religions I know, except for the Epicureans, excess and waste is a sin. So frugality is holy. Brevity is more than what we get when we do tight editing. That's simple. You know, brevity is an attitude to life. Over to you with those few words. Over to you, the presiding officer. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, and thank you, everyone. It was a wonderful session. We had a varied variety of speeches. We also had some fantastic evaluations. Of course, this is what is expected from all the division winners as well as the finalists. So in terms of the overall evaluation of the session, I do not have any complaints except for the fact that I felt that the attendance could have been a lot more better. When we logged in, we had almost say like 23 people. Right now, I believe we have around 18. So I would request the VP as well as the president to ensure that we have better attendance in the future so that our members get real good benefit out of such a wonderful meeting that we've had. So Surya has actually posted the voting link. I would request all the folks to go ahead and vote for the best speaker and the best evaluator. So while I await the results, I would like to get feedback from our guest, Shakuntala ma'am, if you're still there, if you can provide us with your feedback as to how you felt the session was. Shakuntala is not there. Do I have guest Hari? Okay, I guess Hari is not there as well. So Surya, do we have the results?
Please give me some time. I'll just download the data.
Sure. In the meantime, we've also had some, say, evaluators who had come in to attend this session. I would like to start with Toastmaster Sindhu, how you felt about the speeches, and also what do you think of evaluators by some of your other peers?
Thank you. Are you able? I'm having some problems with the video. It's not turning on. I don't know if you're able to see me.
No, Sindhu, you're not able to.
Okay. You can
That's
hear
okay. That's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was a fantastic afternoon. I loved the quality of speeches. Most importantly, there was a plethora of topics. It was not just restricted to one area. And I liked the way the team brevity was brought out in every speech. Every speaker tried to bring in brevity, and I think a few evaluators also brought in. What really struck my attention was, though you did not have table topics, the Toastmaster of the day tried bringing it at the beginning of the session. Thereby, all the people present in the session were able to contribute. So everybody had an opportunity to speak. This is one of the most memorable meetings that I've had in recent times. Thank you very much, DTM Thomas Abraham, for having invited me to this session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Parag, I did recall Parag coming to one of our meetings earlier when it was held at IIT Madras. So I still remember the word that he used, tears from his heart, or something of that sort, something which touched his heart. It was a very nice table topic speech which Parag gave, which earned him the best table topic speaker in that particular session. So Parag, your views, your thoughts, how do you feel? Any feedback for us?
Thank you so much, Narshima, because it's been long but you remember my words at that time. It's really a big thing for a speaker and a conveyor, what he conveyed to the audience. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, Thomas, sir, for inviting me for this particular meeting. And my experience, I would say 3 points. First thing, how smartly you have conducted the table topics instead of not keeping a separate table topics, but you have given to everyone to speak, as the prior speaker, Toastmaster Sindhu, has mentioned. And it's a very nice opportunities for me, I would say, to be part of this evaluators panel, where I happen to be participate with all the winners of all the different divisions. So it's a great feeling for me as well. And third one, how smartly and how I would say, I'm not getting the proper word, but the tag team, they perform the job. The timer and our counter and the grammarian, how detailed report that they had given it's been 2 years in Toastmasters. I got an opportunity to visit a lot of clubs, but I have not witnessed such detailed report in such in such a meeting. So it's really appreciative of tag team. And thank you so much. And I'm taking away with me for learning not only from the speakers, but also from all the evaluators and tag teams as well. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, I would also like to call upon Aloysius, Toastmaster Aloysius, to give his thoughts and also the feedback.
It's an absolute pleasure always when you listen to uh, DTM Thomas Abraham. You always feel the vocabulary and the language and certain kind of style he brings in, right? I always used to refer to my club, follow an example like a TM Modi, how meticulous he is in following up and getting introductions from people, starting with that, right? I was amazed. This is my first meeting with Medley. Hopefully, when we reopen, I could visit the facility and meet you all in person, right? Like especially when this is the second time I'm hearing to Jagan apart from the division contest, right? And I really loved how he presented his evaluation, prepared, and a little bit. It is very simple for the listener to go through it. I've heard Priya a lot before and evaluated her as well as part of our club. She has been a well wisher of our club and visiting us a lot and helping us build the club as well. Few more, like I would like to mention the others who I really enjoyed today. No offense to the others, all of us all were exemplary speakers, but certain things stood out when Atishay took that pen and did his magic trick introducing the trans and other stuff. And with the personal connect, Ranga conveyed a lot as well, right? So all the speakers with Mr. Tyagarajan talking about mentor, I think he has imbibed a lot all through his career as a Toastmaster as well. That brought in out as well. All of them brought in personal stories and gave an excellent speech. I loved the way the flavor and how different each one were. This is what I enjoy with Toastmasters as well. When you go to the club or for any meeting, not just medley, any club you walk in, you just meet different walks, people from different walks of life, and they have a different flavor of life which you have never tasted, which they share with you. An excellent meeting. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Aloysius. So we have the results now, and so of course the best role player, no guesses, DTM Thomas Abraham. The best tag role player is Grammarian Toastmaster Lavanya. The best speaker, any guesses?
Youngest man in medley, is it?
Youngest man in medley, you are right. There are no surprises when you have your name as Atishay. He wins the best speaker award. And any guesses for the best evaluator? I know it's a really tough fight, but any guesses? The best evaluator is Toastmaster Sindhu. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful session. I personally, I got to learn a lot, especially with respect to evaluation. And I can also take a cue from a lot of these speeches which were delivered by these wonderful speakers, especially, again, Toastmaster Aloysius pointed out the hand gestures which were given by Atishay, and also the personal or the emotional connect with Ranga had with his parents, and also how to say enhance your memory. So these are a lot of key takeaways with which I will leave this meeting. With this, we would like to conclude.
A photograph.
Photograph, yes.
When you get such gems from all over the district, don't let go.
Sure. Just give me a moment.
Who is the expert here?
Amita, of course. The Dinakaran, Shankar, could you just
take a screenshot?
Could you just enable Mr. Tyagarajan? Mr. Tyagarajan, could you just turn on your video, please? And Mr. Hari?
Maybe difficult. I think we'll proceed.
Yeah, if you can just take a screenshot.
Yeah, take it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Excellent.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
I forgot. I'm very rusty. It's been a while since I've attended Toastmasters meeting, so I did not start the meeting with the gavel. So now with an imaginary gavel, I end this meeting and I open the floor to say discussions. Over to you, the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Narasimhan.